بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I'm starting early today on purpose. Usually I wait until it's only 20 minutes, but today is Yusuf, so I mean, why wouldn't I start early? It is fun. And there's no way for me to actually finish on time. I will not be able to talk about the whole thing. It's impossible. Even just a summary of it. Even just a summary of Yusuf is not possible within 20 minutes. However, I will enjoy sharing with you, inshallah, a lot of points that are extremely interesting and very moving about the story. So let's put things in perspective a bit. We started with Surah Al-Baqarah, we moved down to Surah Al-Tawbah. And that told a story. If you recall, it tells a story. It starts with the job description and moves you forward. It tells you what system you're going to use and how that is going to be a part of your life struggle. It tells you, the surah after that, Ali Imran, tells you exactly how you're going to maintain it, the difficulties you're going to find and how you're going to overcome these difficulties. So you're never blindsided. You never find yourself at loss. Surah An-Nisa right after that prepares you with your value system, the values you're going to carry. Surah Al-Ma'idah gives you all the details. It's like you're signing a contract, telling you exactly what to do and what not to do, the practice in detail. Surah Al-An'am then gives you that personal relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, defining it as Iman, explaining to you that Iman is not just a belief, it's also acting. You have to act on what you believe. Your conduct has to be has to align nicely with what you believe. It moves on to Surah Al-A'raf that tells you, okay, now you have that personal relationship. It can't just stay personal. Now you have to make sure that your concept of survival is going to be based on community, and that you need to be decisive, that your community can stand and can rise and can survive. Moving forward, Surah Al-Anfal that teaches us that if you're going to do that, you're going to be successful. If you're going to be successful, you have to learn the laws of success, how to deal with success, how to deal with the pitfalls of success. And if you're going to be successful, Surah Al-Tawbah tells you, well, they're going to have enemies. You're going to have enemies of all kinds, outside and inside. And here's how to deal with all of them. That's the story that the first third of the Quran basically tells us. You feel like that's almost everything you need, but then there's still 2 more thirds of the Quran that will detail a lot of things for us. So the surahs that come after the Al-Mi'in, the 100 ayat surah, these ones are going to give us core concepts. The first concept we were given in Surah Yunus is one of perspective, is one of belief. It's an intellectual one. It's an outlook, how to see things. How are you going to see in your life pain, harm, difficulties? What is your understanding of qada and qadr and destiny? And where do you fall in all of that? And what is your job? That is an intellectual outlook. It's a perspective. It's how you understand things. If someone asks you, how do you explain this happening? And how do you explain that happening? You explain it through what Yunus teaches you. That this is a part of life, a part of His creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's going to be pain, there's going to be harm. This is how He created it. This is what He put together, subhanahu wa ta'ala, to begin with. And there's hikmah that you can't see. This is your perspective. So that was Surah Yunus did. It gave us a perspective, it gave us understanding regarding destiny, regarding harm and pain and difficulties, and how we're supposed to deal with that, and that which is unknown to us, and how we're supposed to explain it within ourselves, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the all-wise. The surah the concept after that was the concept of reform, which is more of a social one, which is more of a message. Meaning your message in life, the way you're going to continue your life, what you carry with you in your life is a message of reform. Meaning you look around, you see mistakes, you see things not going the way they should, people not practicing the way they must, and then you carry a message of reform that I'm going to make sure this all changes. I will carry the beacon of change in my community, and I will continue to do that to the last day of my life, understanding that if you don't, ألا بعدا لعاد, ألا بعدا لثمود, ألا بعدا لمدين, meaning all that's going to happen is destruction. Things will fall to pieces. You cannot afford not to be the voice of reform within your community. You can't afford it because it's going to hurt you as well. It's going to harm you too. That's the second concept. Today, the third concept. Today is a concept that is different. Today is an attitude. If Yunus is a perspective, and Surah Hud is a message, right? Yunus gave us a perspective, and who gave us a message? Well, Surah Yusuf is going to give us an attitude. A really nice attitude. A very beautiful attitude. The attitude is very, to simplify it, to make it as simple and as easy as possible, is that I will continue to be the good person I am, with trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I will never give up. That's basically the attitude. This is my attitude. My attitude towards my life and what happens is that I will continue to be the person that I know I am. I won't change. Nothing can change me. I will never change. And I will continue to do what I know is right, trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and never giving up. That is basically the story of Yusuf. If you would like to break down this huge story into maybe 3 words, those are the 3 words that you walk away with Surah Yusuf from. Surah Yusuf is the only surah in the Quran that the whole surah is just one story. There's nothing like it. There is no surah that is similar to it in that sense. All the surahs that are named after prophets or named after individuals, you'll find the story somewhere there, but there's a lot of other stuff that's going on. But not Surat Yusuf. Surat Yusuf starts with the story and ends with the story, with maybe a page of commentary at the end that we very often overlook, even though it's probably the most important part of the whole thing. Surah Yusuf alayhi salam's story is not told anywhere else, to add to the interesting part. Meaning, it's not like Yusuf's story is told in other places, and then in Surah Yusuf it is told in full. No, you don't find Yusuf's story alayhi salam anywhere else. His name pops up here and there. Maybe in Surah Ghafir, وَلَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ يُوسُفُ مِنْ قَبْلُ بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ فَمَا زِلْتُمْ فِي شَكٍّ مِمَّا جَاءَكُمْ بِهِ. Maybe you'll find like an ayah here and there, but nothing to tell the actual story of Yusuf alayhi salam except the surah itself. And it's well directed. It's a story that starts with a dream. The moment you start the story, it's a dream. It's Yusuf telling his dad, here's what I saw. I saw 11 planets, and I saw the moon and the sun, and they prostrated to me, or they honored me. The word sajidin can mean to honor someone. It doesn't necessarily mean to prostrate. The prostration is something you do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the concept of sujood is to honor, is to show greatness. So he saw something amazing honoring him. So he tells his father his story. The father, Yaqub alayhi salam, with his wisdom and knowledge, immediately says, do not ever tell that to anyone. You hold on to that dream. Do not tell that dream to anyone. Not even your own brothers, and especially your brothers, because they're not going to be happy with that. This is a prophecy of greatness for you in your life. Do not tell that story. How did Yaqub know? He knew. Alayhi salatu wasalam. He knew. Yaqub alayhi salam had enough, and the surah tells us, وَإِنَّهُ لَذُو عِلْمٍ لِمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Yaqub has knowledge. We gave him knowledge that very few people have. But most people don't know how knowledgeable Yaqub alayhi salam was. But we do, because we saw immediately what he said, and he was right. And somehow, some narrations say that Yusuf made the mistake, and he told the dream to someone. We're not sure. But the story begins with the dream, and it ends with the personification of the dream. Correct? What's the last part of the dream? When Yusuf alayhi salam is sitting on the throne, and they all honor him. Father, mother, and he tells, هَذَا تَأْوِيلُ رُؤْيَايَ مِنْ قَبْلُ قَدْ جَعَلَهَا رَبِّي حَقًّا. Oh my father, look, it's the dream. How long ago? We don't know. Some narrators say it was 50 years later. Imagine 50 years later. It's you remember the dream? I told you this is the dream. SubhanAllah. It's a beautiful. It's something that you would only. This type of writing, this type of story, is a level of literature that you don't find even in the best movies and the best novels you read. The way that it's put together. Let's take the concept of a shirt for a moment. Let's walk with the shirt. The shirt in Surah Yusuf. The shirt is the shirt that they use to bring the false blood. وَجَاءُوا عَلَىٰ قَمِيصِهِ بِدَمٍ كَذِبٍ. They brought false blood. And the same shirt is the shirt that she ripped when he was running in the opposite direction and landed him in jail. And the same shirt is the shirt that he took off, alayhi salatu wasalam, and he gave to his brothers, and he go throw it, give it to my father, and it gave his father his eyesight back again. Are you seeing the little? So you go through the story. The story is beautiful. It's a masterpiece. And how all the little intricacies and the plot works together. But the purpose is as I explained, very simple. I will not change, meaning my ethics and morals will not be compromised. There's nothing you can do to compromise the way I behave. I have trust in Allah, and I will never ever give up. And I'm going to show you how that all works in the surah. So let's take a look at Yusuf alayhi salam. Let's take a look at his behavior alayhi salam. He's a 17-year-old young man. 17. Do you remember what it was like to be 17? A lot of old men here who don't remember what it was like to be 17 anymore. That's why you don't know how to deal with the new generation. You can't deal with a 17-year-old if you have completely forgotten what it used to feel like when you were 17. Just from a hormone perspective, just hormonally, what it felt to be 17. If you can't remember it, you don't have rahmah when you're dealing with the younger people, because you forgot, you can't do it anymore. He was 17. He was in a different country. I'm not going to go through the story. You know the story. You know what happened to Yusuf alayhi salam. I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'm just going to give you the small concepts here and there. He's in a different country, meaning no one knows him. When does a young man do ma'siyah? It's when he travels to a different place, because no one's there. No one knows him. He can do anything. There's no one to say, shame on you, Ibn Fulan, or shame on you, Ibn Fulana, or are you going to remind him, because no one knows him. He can do anything. So he's 17 years old. He's extremely good looking, he's very muscular, he's very intelligent, he's in a different country, and he's a slave at the time, meaning he is not someone who is seen as to have status, meaning it doesn't matter. Whatever he does, he can't do anything that will make people shame him. If you're hur, if you're someone who is free, and then you commit zina, wal-'iyadu billah, then that's a problem, because you are hur, you are someone who is free. You are expected to live up to a certain standard of ethics. But if you're a slave at that time, I'm talking about how things were socially at that time. Alhamdulillah, that doesn't exist anymore. But back then, if you were a slave, it didn't matter. Whatever you did, no one cared, because nothing was expected of you. And she's the one who's calling him. And she has strength, meaning she actually owns him. And not only does she have strength, but it's in her own house, and she's threatening him. What did Yusuf alayhi salam say? قال معاذ الله. The first word to immediately come out of his mouth, immediately, قال معاذ الله. And he runs, and she pulls, and she rips his shirt. And then she gathers, and she says it again. You're going to do it. قال ربي السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه. No, I'd rather jail. She says, either you do what I say, you do ma'asiyah, or it's going to be jail for you. So then it's going to be jail. السجن أحب إلي. I'd rather be in jail. Now don't forget, Yusuf had just been betrayed by his own flesh and blood. He had just been betrayed by his brothers. Those of you who have brothers and sisters understand that is unthinkable. That is the worst thing that can ever happen to you in your life. Many people, everyone sitting here has been betrayed by someone. This is how life works. Everyone is scarred. Everyone is in pain. Everyone has had an experience with someone that mistreated them and betrayed their trust. But for it to come from your brothers and from all of them, that is a blow to your ego and a blow to your level of self-esteem. You would think the person, after that happened to them, would stop caring about life. There's no khair in the world. If my brother has betrayed me, then I will go and do all the haram in the world, because there's no point of me not doing it. But not Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf held on to the most difficult ethic after he was betrayed, the worst betrayal ever. The worst betrayal coming from your brothers. And then gives you the example. This is the most difficult ethic for a 17-year-old person in that situation to hold on to. And he did. And he did cleanly. Twice. In the room, ma'adallah. And then they tried again. They said, go to jail, or I'll go to jail. And it wasn't just the lady, it was her friends now too. Are you understanding what's being offered to him? Isn't this like the dream of almost every young person? Don't they dream of this? To be pursued by multiple, Ya Latif, but not Yusuf. Yusuf, I'd rather jail. And it's not just like a joke, no, I'd rather jail. No, he goes to jail. And he's accused of committing something that he refused to do in the first place. Are you understanding how complex this whole issue is? He's going to be accused of doing something that he very firmly refused to do. You would think at that point, you would say, Ya Rab, what is this? I am given haram and I say no? So you have me thrown in jail? And people think I did haram? What is this injustice, Ya Rab? You would think he would lose his ethics. What does he do the moment he enters in jail? He sees two people. They ask him for a ru'ya. Before he tells them what the ru'ya is, before he explains to them what they saw in their dreams, what does he do? He does da'wah. Before he tells them, he doesn't ask for money, doesn't ask for anything in return. He gives them da'wah. يا صاحبي السجن أأرباب متفرقون خير أم الله الواحد القهار ما تعبدون من دونه إلا أسماء سميتموها. And he starts telling them, what is better? The idols you worship, or Allah, the one and the only, the unfathomable and the all strong? Who is better? He's giving da'wah. Why is he giving da'wah? Why would he give da'wah after what happened to him? Are you understanding how easy it would have been for Yusuf to become angry? To become angry with Allah, and angry with life, and to lose all morals and all ethics and do whatever he wants after what's happened to him. He's been betrayed by his own blood, thrown into a well. He sat there for a number of days, taken out by people. Instead of them returning him to his parents as decent human beings, they sell him, and they sell him for something very cheap. And then he is asked to do haram, and he says, Ma'ad Allah, Ya Rabbi, I will never do this. I will never break the covenant with you of doing something like that. And then they force him and say, we'll put you in jail. So he says, okay, jail. And then he's thrown in jail. You would think at this point he's had enough. I've had enough. I'm going to sell out. No more. None of this Islam stuff anymore. None of these ethics, none of these rules, none of these haram and halal. None of it. I've tried it before. I tried it, didn't work. I tried it, look what happened to me. I've been good, and look what happened to me. I'm thrown into all my own brothers. I'm thrown into jail for something I refuse to do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can almost hear other people's narrative coming out of the surah. You can almost hear what people could say if they weren't Yusuf alayhi salam. But not Yusuf. He does da'wah. And he tells them, remind the king of this. I'm unjustly in prison. So they forget. And wallah, it's such a hard ayah to فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. Just a half a ayah, keep on going. And he stayed in jail for a few years. A few years? What do you mean a few years? To be in jail unjustly for a few years, and that just to be just a small part of the ayah, and just move on. 7 years later, let's move on. 7 years? That's your youth. Your 20s are gone. In jail, unjustly, for refusing haram. But Yusuf alayhi salam doesn't change. Why? Because now they come back and say, Ya Yusuf, the king saw something in his dream. It's a very, very concerning dream. He's been seeing it every night for the last month. Yusuf, what does this mean? You would think Yusuf at that point would say, all right, finally, let's negotiate something here. All right, I know what this means, and I can tell you exactly, not only am I going to tell you what it means, I can tell you how to fix the problem. I can give you a long-term financial plan for this country. Let's at least negotiate, maybe I get out. Nothing. The moment they tell him, Yusuf, أيها الصديق أفتنا بسبب قال تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا فما حصدتم. He tells them immediately. He explains, he asks for nothing in return. Nothing in return, ask for nothing. He tells them exactly. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك 7 شداد ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون. He tells them exactly what's going to happen. Here's the next 15-year plan. Here's a 15-year plan for free. He asks nothing in return. And then the king, I'm showing you how many times Yusuf is given an opportunity not to live up to the standard of ethics that he was taught to live up to by his father. Easily he could have sold out any time here, but no. Yusuf won't change. That's the whole point of the surah. He won't change. He trusts Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll come to trust in a moment. And he'll never give up. Not just him, but the whole family. So the king sends him, come, I want to, obviously you're a genius, and you shouldn't be in jail. I don't know why you're in jail, but you shouldn't be here. Come, I need to speak to you. And Yusuf alayhi salam, when they opened the door, after 7 years of being in jail unjustly, you would think he would run out and kiss the ground and stand in the sun. He says, no, go back to your king. He closes the door himself. Go back to your king. And ask him, مَا بَالُ النِّسْوَةِ اللَّاتِ قَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنَّ. Ask him about the incident of 1, 2, 3, what happened. Ask him about that incident. The Prophet ﷺ, in a hadith sahih, and this is why the beauty, قال رحم الله أخي يوسف لو كنت مكانه لخرجت. If it was me, I would have left. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he wouldn't have, alayhi salatu wasalam. But that is out of his humbleness and humility, alayhi salatu wasalam, teaching us the lesson. Because if he hadn't said that, we wouldn't have the ability to think about the surah the way we're thinking about it. Is the Prophet sallallahu is saying, no, that is a level of ethics that is very high. That is a standard that even I, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, even him feels amazed by. If alayhi salatu wasalam is amazed by an ethic, then we should hold on for a moment and think about it. And he would have stayed, alayhi salatu wasalam. So they go, they tell the king. The king asks, he figures it out immediately. Everyone tells the story as is. And Yusuf alayhi salam is taken out. One more time. He's still going to hold on to his ethics one more time. Everything that you've heard so far isn't that hard in comparison to the one he's going to do right now. Because when you're weak, if you have enough fear in your heart of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can hold on to your morals, even things, no matter how hard things get. But now Yusuf is going to become the minister of finance. يجعلني على خزائن الأرض إني حفيظ عليم وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض يتبوأ منها حيث يشاء نصيب برحمتنا من نشاء. Now Yusuf alayhi salam, he owned the place. He walked around, it was like he was king, even though he wasn't king yet. He was walking around like he was king. Why? Well, because he was able to put the plan, he implemented the plan worked. And then his brothers come. فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَعَرَفَهُ. They walk in, he sees them, he knows them. Imagine what goes through his heart. 30 years I've missed my father and mother because of you. 30 years of my life You took away. You left me to die. Your goal was to kill me. Just you didn't have the guts to do it with a knife, so you threw me in a well, hoping that maybe someone would take me far away. And he sees them. How easy it is for him right now to take revenge. And no one would have blamed him. Meaning the surah would be fine for me and you. Had Yusuf alayhi salam captured them and put them in jail, you would have had no problem, neither would I. I would be like, that sounds good to me. They deserve it. Actually, throughout the whole surah, the thing that used to bother me as a kid is that these guys never got punished. Wallah, it used to bother me. Like, these guys got away with attempted murder. They should have gone for life. Wallah, easy. When you think about it, they tried to kill someone. And it's not like when they grew up, they said, oh father, look, we were kids, we were imbeciles, and this is what we did to Yusuf. So he may still be alive to go look for him. No, they held on to that piece of information till the last moment. There were men in their 40s and 50s, and they never came clean to Yaqub alayhi salam. They never did. Imagine the pain they caused Yaqub, imagine the pain they caused Yusuf, and he sees them. فَعَرَفَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. But they couldn't recognize him because they threw him in when he was 6 or 7. And now he's a full-grown man. They didn't know him. But he didn't take revenge. Not only did he not seek revenge, he decided he was going to do something. He was put together a plan. A plan that wasn't going to take an hour or a few minutes or a day. It was going to take a year. That's how much patience Yusuf a.s. had. This plan is going to take a year. This plan is going to fulfill the following purpose. It's going to teach my brothers the lesson they should have learned, and it's going to keep the doors of rahmah and rahim, I mean, they keep the doors of kinship open between me and them. I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to lose them. I will not lose my brothers. Do they deserve it? No, they don't deserve it. But that's who I am. Don't respect people because they're respectful. No. Respect people because you are respectful. And that's the simplest thing you walk away from Surah Yusuf with. So treat people not how you think they deserve to be treated. No. Treat them the way or however it suits your ethics. Treat them based on who you are, not based on who they are. And that's what Yusuf did alayhi salam all his life. And he was very patient. And he brought his brother into the king's group. And he caused the problem. And he made the brothers think. When he took Binyamin, it was all planned. He wanted to take Binyamin to make them think again of what happened. He wanted them to think of the time they threw him into the well. How? Let me take a brother from them, but this time, let me do it against their will. They threw me voluntarily. I'm going to take Binyamin from them against their will. Now, they have to come clean. Like this time, but this time we didn't want to lose Binyamin. Yes, this time. They have to say that to themselves. They have to say to themselves, this time, we didn't mean to lose Binyamin. We didn't mean it. Yes, this time. What about last time? And that's when the brother says, وَمِن قَبْلُ مَا فَرَّطْتُمْ فِي يُوسُف. For the first time they ever talked about it, the first time they would say, remember what we did to Yusuf. I can't go back to my dad. I have to stay here. He comes to his senses, and so the other brothers do. They all come to their senses. And they feel, and the next time they come to Yusuf, they are fully humble. And then he says, هَلْ عَلِمْتُمْ. Look how he does it. هَلْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَا فَعَلْتُمْ بِيُوسُفَ وَأَخِيهِ إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. Have you learned the lesson of what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were at the times of your ignorance? What? How do you know about Yusuf? And then they connect the dots. قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف. You must be Yusuf. قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي. Never once did he break his ethics, alayhi salatu wasalam. Yusuf. Not once. Even though you would think that at some point enough was going to be enough, and he was going to break loose and say, that's enough. You ruined my life. Not once. Not once. He held his composure, and so did Yaqub alayhi salam. Yaqub knew from day one. قال بل سولت لكم أنفسكم أمرا. No, what you told me, the story of the wolf and it's all a lie. It's all a lie. I know that you did something else. فصبر جميل. All I have to do is be perseverant. I can't do anything else. And then when they came, فلما أن جاء البشير ألقاه على وجهه فارتد بصيرا. And then when the shirt finally came to, and he smelled the scent of Yusuf alayhi salam, and his eyesight came back. See, it's very common, by the way. It was not very common, but it does happen. Psychologically, someone can lose his eyesight from grief and then come back again. أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكُمْ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Did not tell you that I know from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that which you do not know. Is it time? Is it time? Okay. So inshallah tomorrow I will continue the story بإذن الله تعالى. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.